It is just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Janna Harris from the new restaurant Fresko Mediterranean Kitchen. So if you go to Elliott and 48th Street, that whole plaza there, the anchor is EOS Gym.
But it's actually EOS, not even EOS. It's EOS.
Oh, okay, it's EOS, and you're right next to that, to the left.
Yes, and actually, fun fact about that: the city of Phoenix stops right there at that wall.
Right. Do you know the story about that?
No, because I would love to.
Okay, so here's, but anyway, her restaurant, Fresh Mediterranean Kitchen's been open 15 months. So let's go through that whole plaza if you go one end to the other. It's Cafe Boa, Sakana's, which is Japanese, or
I believe they do a tapenade and they do sushi. You know, or the,
But is that all Japanese?
I believe so.
And then next to that used to be a quilting place.
Correct.
But it's gone.
Yes, sir.
And then next is
is a nail place. It's Smiley Nails.
Smiley Nails. Then next is
there's a vacant, and then you go around, and there's a new salon right there that used to be in 4 Points and Sheridan, and 4 Points Sheridan has new management, and the salon has come over to our shop.
So is that just hair and nails, or is the salon, is it massage?
It doesn't appear to be.
Okay.
I haven't been in there yet.
And then next is the Egyptian bagel place?
Yes, sir.
What's that called?
It's called Bagel Man.
Bagel Man, he's from Egypt?
He is from Egypt.
And then you guys and Greek restaurant. Is it Greek?
It is very Greek. We are 85% Greek. We know ourselves as Mediterranean just because we aren't just exclusive to Greek. But chef is Greek on both sides, and so a lot of our stuff is family recipes and things like that.
So do you use a lot of Windex from My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Absolutely.
And I asked my Greek friends if that was a racist movie and everything, and they just laughed. They said it was just hilarious.
It was hilarious.
It was all true. So then it's your restaurant, the Fresko Mediterranean Kitchen. Fresko is Greek for fresh, so Fresh Mediterranean Kitchen. Then EOS. And then there's the auto parts. What's that?
O'Reilly's.
O'Reilly's Auto Parts. He should be happy. This is the month of St. Patty's Day. There's nothing more Irish than O'Reilly.
O'Reilly's, right.
And then next is
Hallmark.
Is it Millie's?
Millie's. Thank you, Millie's.
Millie's Hallmark, and she was an adorable. Is she still around?
I haven't met her.
She was an adorable woman. Her husband and I were in the Ahwatukee Rotary Club back in the 80s, and I think when she retired, her daughter took it. But then next to Millie's Hallmark is tanning salon,
the Enterprise
rental car,
and a dry cleaner.
And Enterprise is very interesting because every single car rental place, like Hertz and all the others, they all focus on the airport business traveler. And Enterprise was the only one who said, no, we're going to focus on the residential. You wrecked your car, you need a rental car, and guess who does better? Enterprise.
I bet you.
But anyway,
That
back
makes
to the
sense.
Hallmark story. You said Inzer. So way back in the day, it was called, 30 years ago, that hotel was called, it was Grace Inn.
Grace Inn?
Yeah, Grace. G-R-A-C.
Grace. Okay.
Grace Inn. And so he wanted to put that hotel there because it's only 10 minutes from the airport. And so he asked the city of Phoenix to build I-10, an exit ramp, to build there. Because this was right where your business was a trailer park. I got the black and white of it. I got the black and white photo of it. In fact, I need to put that on the, I think I'm going to take that photo.
Please do. I would love to see it.
Posted on Tukeetown. And they said no. So he said, well, can I do it? And they said, well, yeah, but you're going to pay for it. So he built, way back in the day, it was 30 years ago, I mean, it was like a lot of money, I mean, to build an overpass and exit. And then it came down and then turned left, which is 51st Street, and then you wrap around in Grace Inn. So that was all county. So he, but that medical professional building that's there, he ran it to the gas station, the McDonald's that was there, and then Grace Inn. So he had it forever. So then, fast forward, I forgot what year it was, probably early 90s, Phoenix decides they're going to annex Ahwatukee because it was upper middle class and they wanted the tax revenue.
Right.
And so they annexed it and started taxing them. And Grace took them all the way to the Arizona Supreme Court and said, no way, I built this damn thing.
Absolutely.
You didn't build it. And now I build it and then you're going to come back and tax me? Arizona Supreme Court agreed with them. So in Ahwatukee, and I'm not a lawyer and I'm talking out of my expertise here, but you can't call the police in that area. And I've noticed that's where the medical marijuana dispensary is. There's different regulations in that area. So if you have a business that has a zoning ordinance issue with Phoenix, so if you're in Grace Inn, or that gas station or whatever, and you call 911, they send the sheriff. Well, the sheriff is highway patrol. So probably the guy on call is somewhere between here and Eloy, you know.
I do have to say we've had to call them a couple times because we were right on that exit, right? And we get stragglers, we get this, right? I had a drunk woman come in one day and pass out on one of my tables, and you know, so she had 2 Four Locos in her purse, like.
For what?
Four Locos.
What's a Loco?
That's the energy drink / like almost beer thing that was like killing kids a while ago, and they took it all up. Anyway, so she passed out on one of our tables, so we've had to call him. It took him like 3 hours then. But then there was another time that there was a guy sitting outside and he was casing the restaurant, like just kind of walking back and forth, and they were there in 7. So I mean, they're pretty responsive depending on the situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's incredible to know because nobody told us this when we moved in. So we start to get our signage, we start to get all this, we start to get that, right? And they can't find us anywhere going, we don't have your address. We don't have your address. And we're like, how do you not have our address? Like, you know, I mean, the sub shop was here. How did you know? So it took us a while. That was fun.
So actually your business is in the county?
Yes.
So it came over 54. Where's the line end?
The line literally ends the wall in between me and EOS. EOS is Phoenix. We are not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then I assume Grace passed away because now it was sold. Now it's the Sheridan. And and Millie's Hallmark, just legends of the community. And
well, both those restaurants have been there for 25 years too. So Zakana and Boa both.
And Millie's, you know, I remember my 4 boys are 22, 24, 26, 28. But man, the Christmas season going to Millie's home. I mean, she went all out. I mean, she was the most Christmas woman in Ahwatukee. She was the mother of Ahwatukee Christmas. So her restaurant is Fresko Mediterranean Kitchen. Fresko is Greek for fresh, Latin for Windex. This is the best way to describe our menu. Our fare is inspired by Eastern Mediterranean countries, but heavily influenced by the Greek heritage of our chef. Our vision for Fresko is to be your go-to option for thought-free, healthy Mediterranean Greek dining in Ahwatukee. We aim to serve the best ingredients possible, including using only pure olive and vegetable oils. By the way, did you know what canola oil actually stands for?
I absolutely, and I'm about to go all out on canola oil.
What is
it's
canola?
Rapeseed oil.
It's what?
It's rapeseed from Canada.
Right, but you know where canola comes from?
The word?
Yeah.
No?
Canadian oil acidic.
Okay.
But they didn't want to do, what was it, ragseed?
Rapeseed.
What?
Rapeseed.
Rape?
Rape.
Like
actual rapeseed.
Rapeseed, and that they decided they weren't going to market that. But it was Canadian oil, and it was acidic, so they called that's where canola comes from.
You know, you can't process it; that it's actually a poison.
Yeah, I don't know any of that, but you can talk about that. Our recipes are prepared fresh from scratch with the best of fresh ingredients. We are healthy with heart. We are confident this is the best Mediterranean food Phoenix has ever tasted. At Fresko, we combine passion, well-loved family recipes, and our own take on the fast casual concept to bring you a truly unique dining experience. With fresh ingredients, we prepare authentic Mediterranean dishes that have been passed down through our family and serve them to you in a relaxed, inviting space. We offer a wide selection of meals from favorites like hummus and chicken plates to spanakopita and moussaka. So whatever you're craving, we'll always have your fix. Best of all, our dishes are just as healthy as they are delicious, so you can feel good knowing you're feeding your body and soul. Janna Harris has wide experience in restaurants, starting as a hostess in her hometown of Oklahoma City. She worked her way through front of house management and then began programming POS systems. What's POS? Point of sale?
Point of sale, yes, sir. Managing
the point of sale and inventory systems for 50 restaurants nationwide. She eventually was promoted to the IT director for 18 restaurants cross country. Missing the everyday bustle of a restaurant, she completed the pastry program at Le Cordon Bleu here in Phoenix.
Yes, sir.
Where the old governor went, Fife Symington. So how long have you lived in Ahwatukee?
So we moved back in 2010.
Okay, I think he was impeached in the 90s. Will you Google Governor Fife Symington? Google how many governors have been impeached in Arizona. It was, yeah, really. I think we're, do that. I think, are we tied for Illinois or are we number 1? However, Her entrepreneur spirit won't let her be. Over the years working with different establishments, she realized that the demise of many restaurants were the fine details that owner-operators are missing in the everyday flow. With that, BOH Consulting was born. She imagines a world where 90% of people's restaurants' dreams don't fail. My gosh, this is going to be an amazing deal. So first of all, why did you pick Greek?
She's Greek. Because
And who's she?
She's being Cody.
Cody.
So Cody.
That's your partner, business partner.
My business partner, and I call her my husband because she's definitely
Your
not
was?
my husband. Definitely not a wife, but not quite a husband.
Your husband. Is that with a Z or an S?
S.
An S.
Because I can't, you can't call him wife. She's not a wife. You know what? I just can't do normal. You know what I mean? I'm more of a wife. I mean, I put on makeup. You know what I mean? I take that role. The other one, you know what I mean? So I call her a husband.
So your partner, she's born Greek. Her mom and dad are Greek?
Both her mom and dad are Greek. Her grandfather came here from, yes, both of her family is from Greece. Her dad's side grandfather is the one who got into restaurants. So when he came over, that's what he and his brother did. So in true Greek fashion, he would build a restaurant, and then when it came time for insurance money, he'd burn it down and build another one. And so it
says he resigned from his post in 1997 following his felony conviction on charges of defrauding. But how many governors have been?
I'm trying to
one governor, even Meekum, was successfully impeached, and one, Fife Symington, resigned upon convicted of a felony. So I guess Meekum did Nixon. Nixon didn't get impeached. He resigned an hour before he was going to be impeached. But I think so is it just Fife and Meekum?
Yeah, those are the only two according to Wikipedia, and then there's a list and details of all the governors that have been impeached. It says that 8 governors in U.S. history have been impeached, and one of them's in Arizona, and one of them resigned, like you said.
That's pretty cool. You live in the politics in Arizona are as wild as Chicago.
That is no joke.
I think, I don't know, I think 3 out of the last 4 governors of Illinois went to prison. But anyway, little different than the restaurant industry. So your partner, your husband's Cody, her dad's dad came from Greece, and he started the restaurant business.
He started the restaurant. So both of them came from Greece, right? But he is the one who specifically has been, starting the restaurant business. So Cody, their whole family were in restaurants. She started washing dishes when she was 8 in her cousin and her uncle's chicken bar, right? And so she's been in there ever since. She wouldn't know who she was if she wasn't in a restaurant. So have you ever been to Thirsty Lion?
Thirsty Lion? Mm-hmm. No.
There's one in Tempe. There's one in Scottsdale. There's one in Santan. They are a concept out of Portland. They're
like Lion, like the Lion and Tiger, Lion. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it's what?
So it's a upscale gastropub, right?
Upscale
gastropub.
What's gastropub?
They use beer to cook, and they have 52 beers on tap, and they like to basically intermingle them into their food and things like that. So she brought that concept from Portland. So it had started there. She'd worked with the same people for 30 years. And she brought the concept down there, but it was kind of, they keep opening restaurants. She keeps getting older. We were trying to come up with a plan. And so this is how we ended up with doing the restaurant, is because we knew that we needed, some sort of.
Well, you also do restaurant consulting.
Yes.
Because restaurants are a very competitive business. What percent of restaurants go bankrupt in 5 years?
I haven't even looked because I don't even want to know. I got to do my own gig. Well,
it's a Google that.
It's a brutal industry. Absolutely. If you don't, and everybody seems to think so. Everybody has an opinion on it. Everybody has, everybody cooks at their own house, so it's like familiar to everybody, to the general public, but they feel like it's easy to do. Well, what most people don't realize is most restaurants, their profit's less than 10%.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of people, you'd be surprised the comments that I get. So we do all local produce. We do, like I said, 100% olive oil. There's no mixing in canola oil. There's no mixing in anything else, right? So if we fry in vegetable oil because of the point on the olive oil. Plus we wouldn't fry it anyway. But, and everybody's like, that's expensive. Well, it's really not, because I don't even know if you want to go all here. I'm sorry.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to
So
hear all.
people do not think about, you know, the wages that just went up, the taxes associated with that, the sales tax, the permits, the insurance, the, you know, everything that goes along with building a business. But then you have what you're selling. Everybody thinks they know anyway, and so it's like you have to work that much harder to sell it.
So according to Professor D.R.H.G. Parsa, 59% of hospitality facilities fail in the period of 3 years. In the first year, 26% fail. Second year, 19%. Third year, 14%. You know, when dentists tell me in Ahwatukee, there's too many dentists here. It's like, dude, 0.4% of dentists go bankrupt. A competitive industry, one of the most competitive is restaurants. Mm-hmm. But you survived the first year, which was the highest failure, 26%. You're at 15 months, so you're in the second year. How was the first year?
The first year was interesting. I'll put it that way. It's good, don't get me wrong. Ahwatukee is a different sort of community. In the sense of, I mean, and we didn't realize this, you know what I mean? We just didn't realize it. So we've both been in the restaurant industry our whole lives, and we have not seen kind of the patterns or lack of patterns here.
Lack of patterns?
Yes.
Okay, what does that mean?
Lack of patterns, meaning usually you can tell, okay, on Tuesday nights, you know, we get a little bit busier, we need to staff a little bit better, right? So there's usually like a flow to it that you can go, okay, you know, we seem to be busier on this nights. Well, that's not the case here. And you can talk to almost every restaurant owner, right?
Okay, I see what you mean by patterns.
Yes.
The flow.
Of it.
The flow
Absolutely.
of people.
Everybody either comes out at once or they don't come out at all. And it seems to, I don't know if everybody calls each other on the phone. It just seems to be like everybody's talked about, you know, I don't think we're going to go out today kind of deal. It's really funny and has been a huge learning curve for us.
So what are your hours?
So Monday through Friday, or actually Monday through Thursday right now, we're from 11 to 8. Fridays and Saturdays till 9. And
Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then Sundays from 11 to 5.
So people don't realize when you start a restaurant, that's a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Of those 7 days a week, how many days are you and your partner Cody in there?
She's in 7 and I'm in 5 to 6 because my office is at home. We don't have room in there. And so I work from home, but I'm in the restaurant 5 to 6.
So I grew up, my dad birthed to 10. I was born in 62. So 62 to 72, my dad had me, 5 sisters, a brother, and he delivered rainbow bread. And I don't think he ever made over $11,000 a year. And then when I was 10, he bought a Sonic drive-in.
Okay.
So I lived in a Sonic drive. I was either at school or in a Sonic drive-in from age 10 to 20. And I loved it because why would you want to stay at home when you could be at Sonic and eat free cheeseburgers, be with your dad, onion rings, and you're a little boy and there's all these gorgeous car hops and older teenagers that could get you in trouble because they could, you could give them a $5 beer and they could get you a beer. And
right? You're like, I got a hot dog, you want a hot dog?
And not tell your dad, you know, and so I lived in the restaurant business and it's a lifestyle.
Absolutely it is.
Everybody, and next door to him, was his best friend who owned a Greek restaurant.
Okay.
And the margins were so vicious that my dad needed pickles for cheeseburgers. So we'd buy the 5-gallon pickle buckets of pickles. And he needed to make the white sauce.
Tzatziki?
What is it?
Tzatziki.
Tzatziki. So they would split the pickles and Dad would give him all the juice and then he'd keep the pickles.
That's cool.
And I mean, that's how much they went to cut costs is when you're sharing 5-gallon buckets of pickle with the Greek restaurant next door. It's a lifestyle. You either love it and live it, or you're not going to last in it. So you said there's no pattern. So Monday, Thursday, 11 to 8. Friday, Saturday, 11 to 9, Sunday, 11 to 5. So is 11 o'clock the lunch crowd? Is there a lot of business in Ahwatukee that generates a good lunch crowd Monday through Friday?
We're getting there, right? And so a lot of it, we're still getting, I didn't know you were there. Like you didn't know where we were, you know? I didn't know you were there. I didn't know you were here. I'm in this plaza all the time. And so that's part of the hard part of trying to get the word out, right? And so even with social media, and even well as 411 does, and Friends does, and all
Friends?
Ahwatukee Friends.
Ahwatukee Friends. That's a Facebook group?
Yes, sir. It's just like 411, but a kind of a split off.
Yeah. And if you know those people, tell them to come on the show because we're not a Facebook thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally different. Those are news feeds, and I'm trying to build a message board. It's completely different.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's completely different. But if you know the 411 or Ahwatukee 411 or Ahwatukee Friends, tell them to come on the show and talk about their group because I'm for any social media group that brings the community together, gets the word out.
So Diana Lopez is amazing, and she is the one who started 411. And I would be happy to connect you all.
Yeah. And who started, that's 411, and who started Friends?
Kristen Martinez.
Can you find them?
Okay,
Kristen?
so let me just tell you, there's a little beef between the two before you do, right? So the whole reason that Friends spun off was because people were mad at 411. So just know that. You know how we are.
It was the most mind-blowing book for me was Stephen Covey, who was a business consultant, and he died in Utah last year from a mountain biking accident. He fell off his mountain bike and bumped his head and died. But, you either think in fear and scarcity or hope, growth, and abundance. And I remember when I got here, I graduated dental school, 24 years old, came to 48th and Elliott and started my dental office, and it was so little and young. I'm surprised anybody would even go to a 24-year-old kid who graduated an hour ago. And I wanted to run across the street and meet all my new dental school classmates, right?
Right.
But now you're in a business. And half of them are like, well, you shouldn't have come here. Ahwatukee doesn't need another dentist. And the other half are like, oh my God, come on in, let's cook. And so now 30 years later, the ones who thought in hope, growth, and abundance and didn't see me as competition. You know who competes against dentists? Spending your money on Disneyland and going out to eat and
that makes sense.
iPhones. And it's just it's not the dentist across the street. It's the does the person value their teeth?
Sure.
Do they want to brush and floss? It's like dry cleaners. Like there's people out there who don't use dry cleaners.
Right.
And there's people, so I went. That's why I actually went next to a dry cleaner. I thought to myself, who the hell would get their shirts pressed and not have white teeth? I mean, it seemed like a parallel market. But so as far as the
that's really smart.
Facebook 411, Facebook Friends, I don't think in fair and scarce. I mean, whatever it takes for a community to work together and get the word out. And I like the local. I like local social. I like the farmers market. I'd rather go to a Greek restaurant on Ahwatukee than drive all the way downtown Phoenix or Tempe or Mesa. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
And I don't know if it's because I'm old and senile, but I pretty much only leave Ahwatukee to go to the airport.
I don't think we get there's a lot of that. You know what I mean? There's people that, and it makes sense.
Is there a lunch crowd?
So yes, there is a lunch crowd.
Which is better, lunch or dinner for you guys?
And that's the thing. It depends. It depends on the day. It depends on the mood. It depends on the weather. It depends on everything. It's and if we have been able to nail that down, I'd be able to tell you. But we can do off the wall numbers on a Monday, and then next Monday it can be crickets. It's just so. I don't know. So
I grew up in Kansas. Crickets. That's a Midwestern. You're giving away your Oklahoma roots. Yeah, the people always say, yeah, well, I asked them. I said, what do you say? Crickets. That means those night crickets, beep, beep, beep. But so Friday and Saturday you stay up until 9 p.m. And Sunday 11 to 5. So Sunday's more of a brunch deal.
Yeah, if you want to, late lunch, something like that, absolutely.
And what is your hottest selling food? What are people coming in back for more? What are they craving the most?
So our chicken souvlaki is incredible.
Your chicken what?
Souvlaki.
Souvlaki.
So souvlaki is just a method of preparation. So we take breast meat, marinate it, skewer, and grill it. And we only marinate in olive oil, lemon, oregano, salt, and pepper. So you aren't finding anything hidden, no hidden sugars.
Olive oil, what was the other ones?
Lemon.
Oregano.
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper. Do you know Kentucky Fried Chicken's 11 secret?
I don't.
I don't either, but I'm guessing one of them is salt.
I'm assuming. However,
just-
I'm very excited. Reba McEntire is our new spokesperson. Can I tell you? Makes me almost want to eat it.
Reba McEntire is the new KFC spokesperson?
Yes, she is. Yes, she
They were
is.
having a lot of creepy commercials. I think they were doing that on purpose. I mean, it was like, it's just funny because it's so weird and creepy and strange. And then they start with like that SNL guy Norm.
Yes.
And then the next guy is like, is that Norm?
Is it right, or am I
like-
just getting used to him? I couldn't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But no, they've changed it up completely. It's her now,
Who is it now?
Reba McEntire,
Reba McEntire. So are you a country music fan coming from Oklahoma?
through and through. Yes.
Now your partner's from Portland, Oregon. Is she country music?
Not at all. She tolerates it because she loves me, but other than that, no, not really.
What is her music genre?
She likes Kid Rock. She likes 70s. She's more classic rock. Anything
Yeah, I
like
like
that.
classic
Yeah.
rock. But you know what? I have to say one defense about country music because I grew up in Kansas. So when I was little, when we first got our TV, the big thing on TV was Lawrence Welk and the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and then all the local was country music. But then we had the British invasion. You know, it was the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the Kinks, and that was my era, and I just love that.
Sure.
But gosh darn, when you go to Nashville on 2nd Avenue, everyone, 100%, everybody you know that says I hate country music loves country music when they're in Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Just like you might say, well, I've never bought a jazz album. Well, when you're in Bourbon Street in New Orleans,
absolutely.
or Bill Street, where B.B. King's from in Memphis, jazz. I mean, every time I'm in Bill Street, Bourbon Street, I think is jazz is my number one. And every time I'm in Nashville on 2nd Avenue, I think I'm a country music fan. So Reba McEntire.
Oh, she grew up in Oklahoma. She's Stringtown. She had red hair. You know, she was my idol growing up. I used to practice for Star Search like I was going to be her. You know what I mean? Like,
And she's a new spokesman for KFC?
Uh-huh.
Wow. So who's the spokesman for, so would you call your restaurant a Greek restaurant? But you specifically didn't say Greek restaurant.
we didn't because we weren't specific to that. So we have like muhamra, which is a Syrian dip. We have falafel, which obviously is not, Greek. It's just, they all share that. And that's
What is it,
beautiful.
falafel?
Falafel is chickpea bowls, like ground chickpeas.
So chickpea is hummus, right?
Yes.
Okay, so falafel is what?
So with hummus, you take the chickpeas, you soak them, and then you make the dip out of it, right? So with this, we soak it, and then we blend it together with spices, and then we form little bowls and deep fry them. And so they're kind of almost like hush puppies, but with more flavor, right? And so not so dense.
Yeah.
And so
How come when you said dense, you were looking at me?
I've been looking at you the whole day.
She thinks I'm dense. She's like, dense? And so those, what's the only caviar I ever loved and craved is Greek caviar. What is that called? Tarmasalata?
Oh, yeah. Something. So we don't do seafood because Cody's family grew up in the middle of the Peloponnesus, right? So they don't have seafood anywhere around that, and so that's why we do pork, we do chicken, we add a little bit of pork, but lamb. We do lamb.
Pork, chicken, lamb. Mm-hmm. Can I tell you my my lamb story?
Go for it.
So, my favorite hobby is world travel.
Okay.
And I've had the honor to be able to speak to dental groups in 50 countries. And it's so funny when you go to lecture to dentists in Asia, Africa, Nepal, where so many of them I've had this question asked me like 20 times. They go, you know what's the weirdest thing about America? And I'm like, this ought to be good.
Right.
And
Please tell me.
they said, well, you're from one of the richest countries in the world. And I said, okay. And they go, with all that money, you eat lamb. He goes, in Nepal, the poor people eat lamb and the rich eat goat. And the castrated goat is the best. And I remember, growing up in Kansas, this is probably too much for Ahwatukee Uncensored, but I'm gonna lay it out there. I'll never forget, I was on one of my best friend, David Hoff's. I was spending the week at his farm in Fort Scott, Kansas, and we were across the street playing on this Rockin' R Ranch, and I was 10 or younger. And so big old grandpa, this baby was born, and he knocks him over, ties up his feet, and he castrates him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
whoa.
I'm like, what? Well, what did you do that for? And he stabbed it with his knife, and he held up to me and says, if you cut these off, you'll take their mind from ass to grass. Oh. And I don't want them chasing the girls all day. I want them eating. And if they're missing these, they'll get fatter. And so then when that guy said castrated goat, I immediately saw this poor little baby boy getting castrated in Fort Scott, Kansas. And so I said to him, I actually never even really thought about the difference between a lamb or a goat. Is a lamb sheep?
No, a lamb is no.
So
I think a sheep, lamb, goat.
Really, those are 3 different things. So growing up in Kansas, it's cattle and hogs and chickens.
Oklahoma, cattle, hogs, chicken. I got you.
Yeah, so I know.
Catfish.
So, but anyway, but that night we were at Kathmandu, which is one of the coolest cities in the world because it was completely built before there was any cars. So this table is the width of all the streets.
Really?
And it is so amazingly cool. And I visited like 20 different dental offices, walking through these mazes.
Cool.
And, I mean, it's just like you're living. It's kind of like a Star Wars scene.
Sure.
It's like you got in a place and you went across the world, and it's so cool because you're trying to do a dentist, and we were on the same page with root canals, build-ups, and crowns, and all that stuff like that. But this whole different world. And he said, "Do you really not know the difference between lamb and goat?" I said, "No." So he was like, it was his mission to take me to a restaurant, and I swear to God, castrated goat is a delicacy. And he can't understand why these rich Americans are eating lambs.
Well, that goes back to why do we eat lobster and why do we eat shrimp? They're all bottom feeders, right? You know what I mean? It's like, at one point they used to feed them to cellmates, I heard. I don't know if that's true, but, so it's kind of funny the way it goes.
And the funniest thing is how so much urban legend is just not even true, because when you have the Thanksgiving feast, it was up in the Northeast. It was a seafood deal. It was all clam and lobster and cod. There was no turkey or stuffing or pumpkin pie for over a century. And now, everybody just thinks
Kind
you
of
got to
like Jesus being white, right? Jesus and white. He didn't come from here. You know what I mean?
Well, if Jesus went to your restaurant, they'd have to get a table of 24.
True.
Because they all sit on one side.
Right. They couldn't do that there. We're pretty small.
We need a table of 24 because we all only sit on the side. Who was that famous author, poet, or painter that did that? Leonardo da Vinci.
There you go.
Was it Leonardo da Vinci?
I think it was.
Yeah, so I'm sure almost every kid in Catholic school thinks they were all sitting on just one side of the table.
I'm sure.
They saw the picture. How can it be not true? So what marketing is working for you? What is getting clientele in? Is it direct mail? Is it location?
So I tried direct mail. Direct mail wasn't a huge hit. So the things that seem to have been working, because we even got on TV a lot, and that would pull some in, but it seems to be that people aren't watching TV as near as much as they used to, I think.
Well, the data on TV is that pretty much it's only over 50.
Okay.
And 25 and under is gone. And I noticed during the Super Bowl, I couldn't even believe they sold them the ad during the Super Bowl. YouTube TV. I mean, these kids,
yeah.
I mean, if they're 50 and under, they watch Netflix on their iPad. They watch Netflix on, and now YouTube TV is even going to have the local news channels. But and TV is not looking at any of the data because, every time I sit down to turn on the TV, it's usually to watch a news program. And every time I turn on, it's a commercial. And then 2 minutes, and after 3 minutes, you're like, okay,
I'm done.
well, look at the premium channel like HBO. People like HBO. They might not want to pay for it, but they're not being interrupted. So I only watch Vice News because you tape it, and when you sit down and want to watch news, you go to cable, you go to HBO, and you watch news, and it's a 10, 20-minute show. Netflix has gone crazy. Redbox at every deal because it's non-interruption. And cable, for instance, if they need to pay their bills with an ad, okay, it's all prescription pills. Yep. It's all law firms. I mean, make the ad 15 seconds, and if you want to sell 4 ads, do it in a minute. But they're not. They're doing 4 one-minute ads, so they lost the market. So cable's dead.
I'll tell you what, I was trying to watch.
Cable's dying.
Absolutely.
And if you look at what's happening to cable, 10 more years of everyone who's 75, the 50 to 75, every day, 10,000 of them die.
Wow.
So television is losing 10,000 customers a day to the mortuaries.
And not gaining them on the other end.
Exactly, because their business model is still, I'm going to interrupt you a lot. And that's why I don't like Facebook. Facebook is just sponsored ad, sponsored ad, sponsored ad, sponsored ad. And if I follow your restaurant and you make a post on your restaurant, when you make a post, no one will see it unless you boost the post. Which is why I tell everybody, that's why I started Tukeetown, no advertising. Twitter, if you build up 100 followers, you make a tweet, they all get it. And on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is amazing because, again, if you have 100 followers, you make a tweet, they all get it. Google Plus, it's the same. The only ones that are pay to play are Facebook now. But a lot of people are having so much business success on Instagram because if you make a post on Instagram, it goes to everyone. But that's only because he's not charging because he wants Snapchat to die.
Yes.
But as soon as Snapchat dies, Mark Zuckerberg, whose dad is a dentist and friend of mine,
really,
and he sat in that chair several times.
Oh, well, then maybe some of that will rub off.
But as soon as Snapchat dies, Instagram. So as you build up your followers on Facebook and Instagram, you'll have to pay money every time to reach them. And you're talking about your margins are only 10%.
Absolutely.
So you should be building up. And the other thing is, look at our president of the United States. People don't realize, why is he the president? At nighttime, prime time, CNN, only 1 million viewers. Fox News, prime time, only 3 million viewers. His Twitter followers were 50 million. He didn't care what any news they'll say because he's sitting there in his rocking chair tweeting to 50 million people. Yeah. And so, and then you know that, and then you look at all these businesses and their social media icon is Facebook and Instagram. It's like, dude, do you not know who the president is? The president, they should call him President Twitter, not President Trump, because that's why. And what's funny is that, and then the other politician, what was it, Weiner?
Yes.
Who is so neat that could have been the mayor of New York City, but he lost from the same technology because when he got his Twitter account, he had to tweet out weird pictures of himself in his underwear. It's like Trump took it and became the president. And you had to tweet out pictures of yourself in your underwear to complete strangers. And what's so funny, if Twitter was never invented, Harvey, or what was his name, Weinstein, or
Anthony Weiner.
Anthony Weiner. How did I even know Anthony Weiner when he's texting out Weiner pictures? But if it wasn't for Twitter, Anthony Weiner would be the mayor of New York City, and Trump would not be the president.
How crazy is that?
And it's that crazy, but then I tell everybody at the Ahwatukee Chamber of Commerce, and why are you just have Facebook and Instagram?
That makes so much sense.
So if you start up a Twitter account.
So here's the other deal too. You asked me. I do have an incredible guy who's been getting my SEO out there. However, I do need to follow up on the Twitter.
Start a Twitter account, and if you, in fact, you should take a picture of you and me on your cell phone.
Okay.
And when you get a Twitter account, tweet it out.
Okay.
And then if it says @HowardFarran, then I'll see it, then I'll retweet it to my 25,000 followers on Twitter. Cool. And what's cool about LinkedIn is every person sitting in a cubicle in Ahwatukee is on LinkedIn.
Do you find that, do you pay for, so obviously if you message me, you have upgraded LinkedIn. Is that true?
No, I message you on LinkedIn if we're connects. So if I send you a request and you don't connect, then I can't, I have to pay. And it's not much money. I don't know what it is. It's like $1 to send you a message. Because they don't want spam.
Sure.
But if you accept my deal, but I can't accept you, they only allow you to have 30,000 connections. I have 35,000 followers. Oh. So the last 5,000, people always say, well, why don't you connect me on? I can't. And it just got bought by Microsoft.
Okay.
So I emailed I connected with or sent them an email response to the president, the vice president, the person, saying, why is it 30,000? I mean,
and especially for a business setup
why
like
don't you raise it to 50 or 100? Well, just take off the limit. But the neat thing is, if you made a post on Twitter, everybody will follow. And if you go to Twitter and just search for Ahwatukee, you can start following all these people that are just on Ahwatukee. And then if you go on, but as you work on Twitter, searching Ahwatukee, and LinkedIn searching Ahwatukee, and Google Plus, go on Google Plus and just put #Ahwatukee, and you'll see every business. But you can social media market with all those people for free.
Sure.
And but anyway, so you said direct mail wasn't a success.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't great for us. We did it in 044 and 048. No, I think I just did.
8504.
Yes,
8504.
I didn't do 48. I think I just left it at 44 because that's where.
44. Did you do? Well, we have 3 zip codes: 045.
Yeah.
And 048.
Yes.
So,
I tried it first with 4-4 because that was the one closest to us.
but direct mail didn't work. What?
Right.
So what next have you done? You said you did Facebook.
So we do. I do. Yes, we've been working on our SEO. I've been working on Facebook, Instagram, trying to do blogs to connect. For the SEO.
So here's another thing on Facebook you got to think about. So the population of America isn't really. I mean, it grows at like 1% a year, right? I mean, it's just barely growing. Mm-hmm. But you've seen all the newspaper that Facebook's gone from 100 million to 1 billion to 2 billion. But all that growth in Asia, Africa, Latin America has nothing to do. So the United States population is pretty stable. Mm-hmm. But so you go back to, so like every year there's twice so many ads. So when you go to Facebook like 5 years ago, an ad was extremely effective.
Right.
But then next year you have twice so many ads, but you still have the same number of person, but you have twice so many ads. So each ad has to be less seen. And the next year there's twice so many ads again.
So I do have to say.
So the ad effectiveness
goes like that. However, I do have a guy, my SEO guy, right, knows how to redirect. And so somehow he knows to manipulate that to pop back up. Right.
But I'm just following my business guru. I got my MBA from ASU because they didn't teach you one thing in dental school. I mean, I graduated in dental school. The first Friday I was out, my dad asked me for payroll, and I'm like, you think in 8 years of college someone could have taught me how to make payroll? and after all these business questions, like and it reminds me, I was having dinner with a priest one time. My two oldest sisters are Cali nuns, and it was a priest, and he says,
are they still so?
What?
Are they still nuns?
Yeah, the oldest one has been a nun for cloistered Carmelite monk for what, 35? I've been a dentist 30. Mary Kay has been Sister Anna of Yahweh for 35 years.
Wow.
And I'm having dinner with this priest, and he says, he was mad at the seminary. I said, why are you mad at the seminary? He goes, I went to the seminary for 8 years. And you know what I did when I graduated? They sent me to this church that had an elementary school that was $1 million in debt, all these pissed off teachers and parents and this and that, and I'm the guy. And it's like, well, in 8 years, could you have taught me Excel?
Right?
Could you taught me what a budget is? I didn't know what a statement of cash flow, a statement of balance sheet.
Right.
I didn't know any of this shit. I was reading the Bible for 8 years.
Right, working on being the God thing and all you do.
I'm running a company with 50 employees that's bankrupt.
Yeah.
And he said it was funny because after he left the seminary, he found out that for the first 3 years out of school, all he did was go to Barnes & Noble and read every business book known to man. I mean, he had to learn how to do quarterly HR interviews with his teachers.
Okay.
Handling complaints, talking to an accountant, going to the bank, finance. I mean, he's like, my God. And I said, well, welcome to dentistry, medicine, and law. Because when you walk out of law school and open up your law firm, you don't even know what a statement of cash flow is. Mm-hmm. And you've been reading all these, all this philosophy of law and Greeks, and where I guess it started, and all this stuff like that. And it's like, well, your statement of cash flow,
right?
Is,
you may know all that, but
but my new business guru, I think is one of the greatest, is Professor Galloway of NYU School of Stern Business.
Okay.
And he just goes on forever about how Facebook is this. Every year it's going to be more expensive for less return. And so that's why I'm in Tukeetown. We went live 2 weeks ago, so Monday will be 3 weeks. We already have 1,000 down.
By the way,
people.
y'all did a great job of getting people ahead of time so that's what I didn't do ahead of time. I didn't think about marketing way ahead of time of standing. You know how like you guys were standing out in the corner, I thought it was cool, taking pictures. Hey, you know what I mean? That kind of jazz.
So under foods and restaurants, 1,000 people have already downloaded this way. It'll probably be 5,000 within a couple months, but I want you to see if you like the categories like bars and breweries, breakfast and brunch, lunch and dinner. So you could go to lunch and dinner, and you could start a thread for just your restaurant, and then every day post the special. And then a picture of you, Cody, the special, and then that same picture, push it out on your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Google Plus, and your Pinterest. What's neat about Pinterest, 95% are women. What's neat about LinkedIn is everybody who works in a cubicle in Ahwatukee. There's 85,000 people, and I bet 10,000 of them work in a cubicle. So they're sitting there working in a cubicle and then building up your Twitter follower. Like say if you tweet it and CC me at Howard Friend. I'll retweet it to 25,000. Sure. And you can search in Twitter like Ahwatukee and just start following everybody who has Ahwatukee in their deal. Same with LinkedIn, but so that'd be good, Mark. So what other marketing have you done? How come you're not standing on the street corner?
So that's what I'm kind of working on that, right? I mean, not a joke.
You're afraid the sheriff might come by and say, "Hey, girl, why are you standing on the corner?
Right? Can you put some clothes on?" Yeah, so I mean, I'm doing like we put out. I'm working on signage. I'm working on doing like lunch promotions as well that we haven't been necessarily doing that. So basically like a loyalty program. We're working on that, and so I'm trying to bring I'm about to put an A-frame out on Elliott. I'm not asking.
Put a what?
A-frame.
What's A-frame?
An A-frame sign. Like everybody does, right?
An A-frame on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
About to do that so that we get some visual there.
Some people wrap their car and then park it out by the deal.
If I didn't drive like such an asshole, I would. I am one of those, I'm going from here to there. My head is not at my rear end. I'm not on my phone. So if everybody could pay attention to what they're doing, that would be great so we can all get somewhere. Well, most people don't drive that way. And so. Well,
what's weird is my boy's mother, her oldest brother was ran over and killed by a drunk driver. Oh. And as you and I grew up, about 30,000 Americans died each year in an auto accident, and 1/3 of that was alcohol. So you had Mothers Against Drunk Driving, you had all these things, big penalties, big fines, and they really, really massively cut back the drinking and driving. But people aren't talking about the fact that the 30,000 a year, which was the staple number for decades, is now up to 40,000. Because this is more distractive than drinking. When you're drinking and driving, so I'm told, you're going really slow and you're paying attention and you don't want to get pulled over. And you're like, okay, it's only 3.0 miles from Brad's place to my house. Right. I'm going to do this. But when you're driving down the road and you see them and they're going like that, I mean, this is and the numbers don't lie. I mean, we've gone from 30,000 to 40,000. But drunk driving is not even in the top 5. It's the smartphone. Then they have a category. It's just distraction. It's the smartphone.
It's not paying attention. Period.
And what I always scared about with my 4 boys is that one teenager in the car is the safest, but add a second one, death goes up. Third one. By the time you have 4 kids, you're trying to drive to Safeway, and somebody's saying, "Oh my God, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Yep. Look!" And so you run into a telephone pole because it was a javelina or a coyote. I mean, it's like, really, we just died because we've seen our 8 millionth coyote.
My dad wouldn't even let me have people in the car. He wouldn't let me have my radio for the first
and
however
eating
long.
Fast food.
Eating, absolutely.
They're putting Arby's hot sauce on their sandwich while they're going down I-10 at 70 miles an hour. So it's far more dangerous.
Absolutely.
So in marketing, you have the pre-sell, the experience, the post-sale. So the pre-sale would be advertising. It would be PR. So you done direct mail, didn't really like that. How was your Facebook stuff?
Our Facebook is getting better. So I have been struggling with that just because I'm not usually a person of words. And so it's hard for me to post on a regular. It's hard for me to, it's just not, you know what I mean? So that's why I've gotten help with this. And over the last 6 months, it has increased dramatically.
And is your SEO guy from Ahwatukee?
No, he actually lives in Sedona.
Sedona. I love the pink Jeep there. So you're thinking about getting an A-frame sign, but you haven't done that?
No, I have one. I'm waiting for the art on it. And so I'm doing that.
Is that made in Ahwatukee? A-frame? Who's doing the A-frame?
I ordered it off Amazon, and I don't know who's doing the printing on it yet.
So what other advertising have you done? Did you get a story by Paul from Ahwatukee Foothills News?
Yes, we've been in the Foothills News.
Did Paul come out and...
He didn't come out, I don't believe. I believe we just submitted stuff to him because at that time we had been working with a marketing company that was who got us on TV.
Shoot me an email and I'll reply to Paul.
Okay.
Just an amazing guy. And we did a podcast here. He's just Mr. Ahwatukee. Do you have his email, his contact?
I don't. I've met him once, but yes. Okay.
I will email me, howard@tukeetown.com. Okay. I'll reply to you and Paul and say, Paul, do something else. So any other marketing? Ahwatukee Foothills News is great.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we? So I put like a little blurb in Like the retirement center that's behind our shopping center. There's one. It's Ahwatukee Community Center. Ahwatukee.
Okay, yeah, the Ahwatukee Rec Center.
Yeah, rec center. That's it.
Across from the post office.
Yes.
Okay, so then there's the experience, which everybody says that's where you need to put all your money. And then there's the post, and I think the post program, loyalty programs, warranties. I think it's really interesting that when you look at small business, they put so much money into the pre-sale, the advertisement, the PR, the Facebook, the social media, all that stuff. But if you look at the Fortune 500, they have cut back on that massively, and they're all in the post program, like on airlines, loyalty program. Like Southwest Airlines, they give you a card, 10 cards is a ticket. Credit cards are loyalty programs. Warranties,
Another thing we're doing, we're going to do a 50% off vendor card. So our people that we know that will bring in other people. That way they'll bring in friends.
Did you have an open house? Did you ever have a theme event like when it's Valentine's Day, or do you ever do any?
I haven't done any of that.
Another good one is the farmers market. Next weekend the farmers market won't be there because Saturday and Sunday they're having that chili cooking contest.
Oh yeah.
And that's a big, and the Easter parade. The Easter parade, have you ever been to the Easter parade?
Mm-hmm.
So the Saturday before Easter, from 48th Street and LA to 48th Street and Warner is an Easter parade.
Really?
And it's huge. But at the end, they have that parking lot there. They rent the car stalls for $10.
Oh, okay.
And there's all kinds of little businesses and things like that. But I would have someone attend. I would get a booth. We have a booth there. You could put stuff in our booth. We already got a booth at the chili cooking deal.
Okay.
It's next Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So you can put your brochures in our booth, or come stand in our booth. Okay. And it's the same thing with the Easter parade.
Okay.
And that's interesting. But I'm just trying to think. But you're doing a restaurant consulting business too.
Well, so we aren't so much doing that now, right? That was really what we were doing because I was trying to get Cody out of the restaurant business, period, right? Well, not out of the restaurant business, but you can't fix people who won't listen, right? And so that's the deal with the consulting is a lot of people want advice, but they won't necessarily take it. You can only tell somebody to floss so much before they, you know what I mean?
Most people, when I hand them the floss, they bring it back and they say, "This yo-yo's broken." Most people in Ahwatukee floss twice a year, and their dentist does it for them each time.
Right. By the way, Sherry wanted me to tell you that whenever she hands out falafel balls, that she tells them which one to pick it out of, which teeth to.
So you have a hygienist that worked for me 20 years ago. Now she's working for you?
Yeah.
Does she work today or tomorrow?
No, because she doesn't work in the building with me. She does events with me. So because she does other things, but she just goes and does. We do corporate catering.
So what are your events?
So we do corporate catering. We work with a company called Fuda, but what we do is
send me that Fuda. So what is Fuda?
Fuda is a pop-up. So they go into corporate buildings. They arrange to bring in one restaurant a day, for the people within these buildings. So these
is that a local company?
No, so they're out of Chicago.
It's a national chain, and it's called Fuda.
Fuda. And so, we go to Renaissance Square, and we have two 12 by 12 tables. I'll show you.
Where's Renaissance Square?
Downtown.
But why would you be marketing yourself to the downtown community? Or you just make events or are you just making money on a singular event?
So it's a singular event. So it does a couple things for us. One, you never know, even if people work downtown, you don't know where they live, right? So we've had good exposure there. So we've had.
That's why this podcast. I couldn't take when we started doing this podcast. The first day was 50 downloads. I'm like, who's doing this? Then I started getting emails, and they were saying, I live in Ahwatukee, and I have an hour commute every day to work, and I can't listen to toxic talk radio. I don't care about Putin and ISIS and Afghanistan. By the time I get to work, they want to shoot themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's why podcasts are fun.
We go, there's a line behind there, basically, right? And then, people go through, and so it's pop-up. So you order, so we have, chicken souvlaki, we have gyro, falafel, pitas, we have moussaka, we do Greek salad, white bean salad, so they can order whatever they like. And so we go in for a couple hours from, basically 11:30 to 1:30.
So have you thought about doing that, Fuda doing that at any of these business centers? I mean, there's some big buildings and all. With
So that's currently what I'm trying to find. So we do a couple events a month at Dish, like where we'll go set up for their employees. The one right here on Thistle and 48th, just south of Ray and 48th.
Ray and 48th. There's called Thistle.
It's a Thistle Landing.
Okay,
and
I've seen
Dish
that.
is in there.
And what is Dish?
The Dish Network.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So for their employees, we go in and set up.
It's really neat. There's a lot of big businesses in Ahwatukee that kind of fly under the radar that you don't realize.
That's why I've been searching the crap out of them. It's like, how do you find that, right? And this is my learning curve here. So I mean, we can do all the rest.
Well,
of this.
someone is watching you right now that works there.
That's true. That's true.
And that's what I'm trying to do. So when you talk about marketing, this is content marketing, and it's free.
Yeah.
And Tukeetown is free, and it's not going to interrupt you with any ads. I think local social that's not advertising based.
Sure.
And is not going to interrupt you is going to be the deal. And I'm really, so far, everyone that's come on the show, really, actually, everyone told me they got new business on it.
Beautiful.
God, I keep saying it wrong. It's not Grace Church. It's
Generation.
Generation. That G, for some reason, think church, Grace.
There is a Grace Church in there. There's a Grace Church around. In there, I don't think you're wrong.
You're thinking about saving Amazing Grace.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Grulick Auto over by you, great guy. We've known him for decades. He's got lots of new business, and I think I just want everybody to quit. You know, when you're obsessing on North Korea and Putin and Washington, D.C., when I tell everybody 99% of your problem, almost all your problems, are the 6 inches between your ears.
Amen to that.
And then it's going to be your family and your coworkers. And that's going to be Ahwatukee. By the time you leave Ahwatukee, you're down to like 1% of all your problems.
Right.
And so let's what did they say the 4 T's of giving are? Your time, what did he say, Ryan? The 4 T's? Give your time, your treasure, your talents,
And your team.
and your team. Come on, go eat at a restaurant. I'm going to eat at your restaurant today or tomorrow. Absolutely, I love Greek food.
So we're also BYOB on that note with no cork fee, right? So
With no what?
Cork fee. So we have wine set up, we have beer set up, so we have cold beer glasses. So bring in your wine when you come. We'll pop it for you. There's no fee or anything, and then that way you aren't
So you
paying
can bring
retail.
your own beer?
Absolutely.
Why would you do that? Because restaurants' alcohol is their highest margin.
Absolutely. You will pay 4 times.
So
Upwards.
do you not have a liquor license? Is that why?
No, we actually have a BYOB liquor license.
But why would that be? That would be not in your best interest. You got to pay the bills.
So you also have to think that...
Do you sell wine?
No, because you can't sell it and have BYOB.
Well, you got to get rid of that. No, when you read restaurant white papers. So if you go to Google and you wrote white papers on the restaurant industry, white papers are they're usually written by PhDs, business. I was talking to Regina Hertzlinger. I did a podcast with Regina Hertzlinger on my dental podcast show. And she has a doctorate, and she has a DBA, which you might think doing business as, but
Right,
it's a doctorate of business administration. But alcohol is 80% of the profit margins in these restaurants. You can't do that.
Yeah, you absolutely have a point, and I go back and forth on this. To be honest, we go.
No, there's no
back and forth.
There's no back and forth. But how much is a liquor license?
It depends on what your percentage is per food, right? So what your percent,
Okay.
right? You pay off of that.
So right now you're all food.
Right.
So you should get a very low cost liquor license.
Right, which the BYOB is $50. That's why we don't do a cork fee, right?
You can't do a bring your own beer. It's like people.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
So y'all hear me when y'all hear this whenever I change it, and don't be all mad at me when I don't know why.
Well, I mean, people always ask me. They always go, "Well, can you just take what the insurance pays?" That's insurance fraud. Would you like me to go to jail and my family? I mean, why? Why do you want me to go to jail? And then they go to the Arizona Cardinals deal, and they go, I can't believe a hot dog was $5. You were sitting in a $1 billion stadium.
Yep.
Obviously, if you go to Fry's and buy a package of hot dogs and buns and come home and watch it at home on your TV, I mean, but you're paying for the ambiance.
Yes.
But no, you cannot bring your own beer, and alcohol is 80% of your profit margin. The secret to lower prices is lower cost.
Yes.
And you have to focus on your numbers. You have to know your numbers.
Yes.
And it does. And a lot of people they open their own business. They go, "Oh my God, we're now doing $10,000 a month." Well, you don't pay your bills on $10,000 a month. You pay your bills on your net income. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I mean, you know how many business? You know the sweet spot for a business to go bankrupt is between $1 and $3 million a year, because that's when they start setting up a second or third location. And they didn't realize that living in this one building, they were just winging it. Mm-hmm. And all their problems were little Doberman pinchers that they could kind of keep in the back corner, throw them a biscuit. But when they went to a second location, that Doberman over there turned into a Tyrannosaurus Rex and demolished the whole business.
Absolutely.
So you have to, every successful franchise, like even McDonald's, their prototype was 10 years old before Ray Kroc started stamping it out. Sure. Even Henry Ford, his first car went bankrupt. And the Model T was round 2. The average
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the average millionaire goes bankrupt 3 times.
They say just your first million's the hardest, right? That's what I'm waiting for. Okay.
So you got to know your numbers, and so it's the 80-20 rule. Look, I'll give you more examples. Many of these fast food places, they say, well, we've already paid for a land, building, restaurant at McDonald's and Taco Bell and Taco Tico and that, so we might as well serve breakfast. Because we don't have to have new land, new location or nothing. So we've already bought the facility. So we've already got the assets. So you know how we'll increase our return on our asset? We'll throw in breakfast. And now the Egg McMuffin sells as much. It's equal in revenue to the Big Mac.
Right.
So their breakfast Egg McMuffin equals in revenue to their lunch and dinner Big Mac. So that's a smart deal. But you know why restaurants all don't have breakfast? Because there's no alcohol. And what the big restaurant chains, I think it was the Outback and the Lone Star that figured out that when they did the McDonald's thing and they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner, well, now their employees weren't in there every day from your hours were 11 to 8, Monday through Thursday, 11 to 9, Friday, Saturday, 11 to 5 on Sunday. Their employees are now in there from 8 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. And what they found out is all their management would burn out and quit in 3 to 4 years. A lot of them ended up becoming alcoholics. So they said, you know what? For a lifestyle point of view, we don't want to burn out all over. They have to have a life. They have to have rest. They have to have a life. So they all quit breakfast. And their other deal in the breakfast was that when they looked at their profit, they barely made profit at lunch. They made 80% of their profit selling liquor and wine and alcohol starting at 5 o'clock when everybody gets off work, and you come and you buy dinner, but that glass of wine is what, $8-10? And how much cost is in there? A buck?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so and the food cost. So when you go to the Outback and order a steak and a bloomin' onion and all that, their food costs are 30 to 40%. Mm-hmm. A glass of wine, are you kidding me? And you just go pour some wine in there? I mean, it's nothing but nut. And if you took away booze, liquor, wine, hard drinks out of the all these big chain deals, they'd disappear.
Yes, I would. You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that.
Cancel your bring your own beer, blame it all on me. And if you want to come and see me and say, oh, Howard, I don't like you because I had to pay $5 for a hot dog at the Suns game, and I had to buy a $5 beer at her restaurant, so I hate you. Well, then you pay your bills. You build a football stadium with a retractable roof. Yeah, just do that on the weekend. Pretty sure that thing cost almost $1 billion.
Yeah, if you build it, they don't necessarily come. I'm just going to say that.
So I know this will get you new clients.
I really appreciate that.
Start a thread on Tukeetown.
I will.
And then you can, every damn day, you could, if you start your own thread, you're not allowed to spam if people are talking about the golf course, you can't go on there and say, oh, come to eat lunch at the Dill.
Oh, yeah.
That's spam. But everyone's allowed to have their own thread. So you start your own thread. It should be come see us at Fresko Mediterranean Kitchen. And then every time you post, it goes to today's active topics.
Okay.
So it'd be right to the top of the line. Say, come see today's specials. Your logo should be you and Cody's face.
Okay.
People don't want to see a fancy bottle of Windex and
A bunt cake.
yeah. And they want to see you. They want. It's like Friends. They want to go where everybody knows their name.
Mm-hmm.
So establish your name and her name, your first names, pictures with a million words, and then start spending your time on all free social media, Tukeetown,
Google
Twitter,
Plus, Twitter, yeah.
Google Plus, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you want a lunch crowd, post every day on LinkedIn.
Okay.
That's everyone in the cubicle. Twitter is already huge. Ask if you don't understand Twitter. Talk to Anthony Weiner or Donald Trump. By the way, you know what Anthony Weiner's Twitter name was?
Dickhead.
That's hilarious. It was Carlos Danger.
Really?
That was his Twitter name, Carlos Danger. So he knew it was dangerous. What's really weird, he was tweeting it. I mean, it'd be like you just going out your backyard and throwing a pin over the back of your head. You don't even know where it landed.
Right.
But he lost the mayor of New York City over it. Trump used Twitter to be the president of the United States. You could use Twitter, Tukeetown, LinkedIn, Google Plus for free and build your business. And I can't believe this show's an hour.
I'm gonna have to sit down with you later somewhere. I've learned so much just even sitting here with you.
And by the way, Paul Mariniak just emailed me with the editor of the Ahwatukee News, so I'll reply that one to you. But good luck to you. I'm going to eat through this weekend. Please support local. Go to local businesses. Support the farmers market. Buy local produce. Just go local. That's the future. Local social. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.